This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 9. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Chakodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. It's a brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson, Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and I want to go into this quick article here. All right, signaling. All right, the times that we're in. Okay, and it says many Americans likely in for tax refund disappointment. And there's a survey, all right, that was done. Okay, and I'm gonna go right into it because you can see around the world, these so-called world governments are setting up themselves, okay, and setting up the people for a time of chaos. Okay, like in the words of Klaus Schwab in the World Economic Forum, that this is the preparation for a polycrisis. Okay, a polycrisis. Now, keep in mind that all these things that are set to hit and befall the inhabitants of this world is all biblically prophesied. Okay, we've been going through it time and time again. You know, the book of Second Esdras, all right, is one of the key prophecies that we're starting to see unfold. Okay, we're starting to see the Lord visiting the earth, all right, which He made. Okay, and that's what's coming with all these calamities. All right, you look around the world, all these protests. All right, these protests of the people fighting against their governments. That's all biblical prophecy. Okay, when I woke up, I saw a video out there in Kenya, people going crazy over there, man. You know, and I believe they said it's been going on for the past 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and that should tell you something. And they're fighting against their oppressor, their governments. Okay, so that's also going to lead over here to Babylon the Great, America. Why? Because America has been the land, all right, that has had all these freedoms, all right, the land that everybody wanted to ever come to, all right, the land that, you know, you had these so-called constitutional rights, all right, privileges, really, all right, and people had all these so-called liberties, and that's what led, all right, to America's wickedness. Okay, you have freedom to do whatever it is that you see fit, okay, as long as it's in the realm of wickedness. But if it's righteousness, you have to go through a whole lot of hurdles. Okay, and now the world is about to answer for their actions, especially here, these so-called Americans, man. All right, and the Lord is about to hit your pockets real heavy. Okay, it says a recent survey of taxpayers show a large number of Americans anticipated a tax refund that is either the same size or larger than last year's. The survey, released by tax preparing software firm TaxAct this month, showed that only about 30% of Americans anticipated receiving less of a refund in their 2022 returns, despite recent warnings from the Internal Revenue Service and other tax experts. Another 24% said in the survey that they don't know what to expect. All right, and when you have a population of people who don't know what to expect, you're in trouble. Okay, you're in trouble because anything can happen and you're going to be effed. Okay, you don't know what to expect. And that's not just, you know, speaking about just taxes alone. All right, we're talking about the financial woes. Okay, people don't understand or even have a clue, okay, of what's going on because the mainstream media is not telling you these things. I mean, hey, shit, some of these things that we're seeing, all right, it comes off as a little bit like, oh, why isn't anyone talking about this? You know, this is big news. You know, in the scope of prophecy, these things that are happening around the world, these are all big news, biblical prophecies. But the mainstream media is not bringing these things out to the public, so people think everything is all good. I mean, if you were to really look at America and the state it's in now, we should be in a complete state of emergency. All right, the government should be, you know, out here just telling people this, do that. They're not doing that. They want to make sure that they set everything up for the next coming months. And guess what? They're already passing bills and legislation to make sure that if there's any type of riots or protests, there's going to be curfews. And then there's going to be martial law. Okay, and now that's the next article I'm going to get into to show you that they already set it up. Okay, Klaus Schwab said, I think last year or a couple years ago, he said that the world governments must prepare for, civil disturbances. All right, angry. He said an angrier world is what he said. Okay, that's Klaus Schwab we're talking here. What does he mean by an angrier world? How does he know? Is there something that they have in plans to do to the people of the world? Being that they have their own, what they call young global leaders, all right, who have pretty much taken over these world governments and are pushing the people to the point where the people are pushing back. All right, look at France. Okay, France is a prime example. Now look at Kenya. Look at all these different countries that you constantly seeing these protests, but they're not going to bring it out. Okay, because if they do, all right, they know that what the people are protesting, they're protesting unjust things. They're protesting things that, the governments are coming in and all of a sudden making these new laws, new policies, and is affecting the people. They're like, we're not having this. Okay, things are bad as it is over the past 2-3 years, and now you're coming in to make it worse. Who the hell are you? And a lot of these so-called government leaders, global leaders, they coming in not because they were voted for. Some way, somehow, there's some type of conniving scheme or whatever shit that they do in the background that leads to them becoming so-called presidents and so on and so forth. I mean, look at the UK, for example. Great Britain, for example. All right, what once used to be called Great Britain, now is just Britain. Okay, the so-called prime minister is a damn Elamite, man. You know what I'm saying? How can you have the people's best interest if you're not even the people themselves? You're not even from them. So anyway, let's keep going. It says, and the same thing goes for America too. Okay, your so-called so-called governments, all right, they're not being run by the people. Okay, they're being run by private entities that tell them how to rule the people. And that's why you're gonna have a lot of protests and riots very soon here in America. Okay, protesting for food. Okay, especially that. All right, the little that you have, they're going to take that away from you as well with all these new laws and legislations, all these bogus claims. Okay, let's keep going. It says, the smaller refunds come as many Americans are saving less and are increasingly expressing worry about decades-high inflation, according to a Tax Act release. Tax experts have said that the federal government pandemic programs, as well as tax credits, have ended for many. Refunds are predicted to go down 11%, and refunds are predicted to go down 11% from last year. Curtis Campbell, president and CEO of Tax Act, stated in a press release. It says, and it's important for people to be prepared to receive less or even owe money this tax season. Okay, and it shows you how unrighteous, all right, this world really is, especially here in this country. Okay, something known as a tax. What the hell is that? See, when you agree to work, all right, a set amount of time, okay, you got to get paid for that time that you worked, man. But see, these devils don't do that. That's how unrighteous they are, man. Okay, if you agree to work, I work for $100 an hour. Okay, the work that you did is you should be getting paid that $100. That's it, point blank period, because the work was done within that time frame. If I asked you, hey, lift up this TV and put it over here, I'll give you $100 for the hour that you did this work. However long it's going to take, you're getting that hour paid for $100. And then after you've done the work, all right, you've done the work that we agreed for you to do so you can get paid for it. I come from somewhere and I say, well, listen, I would charge you some tax off of the amount of money that you're supposed to get for the work you did. I'm going to charge you a little bit of tax from that. You see? So you're not really going to get that $100. You might be getting like 70. I'll give you 70. Yeah, well, I did the work that I should be getting $100. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I know, but you're going to be getting 70. So why didn't you agree to pay 70 instead? Well, if I agree to pay 70, then I would have taken the taxes. Then you'd have been making something like, 50 or 45, That's Esau right there. Very unrighteous. All right. Very wicked, unreasonably wicked, man. And the Most High going to destroy the ass for that. All right, because it's in the scriptures that you're supposed to get paid the same very day that you work. All right, when you start working from sun up to sundown, by the end of the day, all right, the sun goes down that day into the next day. You're supposed to be getting paid however much you were told you're going to get paid for the work that you did on the spot, on the day. But now these niggas will have you. Some people get paid bi-weekly. You know, some people get paid salary. Some people get paid weekly. I mean, how many people do you know work and get paid the same day nowadays? It doesn't work like that. Unless maybe it's off the books. But they got to call it off the books. You can't have it on the books because it will be taxed. It's dumb shit like that. You know? So if that was the case, then you go in, you could say, well, I mean, I know I'm not going to get paid the amount that I'm supposed to get paid. So let me just do shabby work. And then you're going to get fired. You know? So again, this is all boiling to what? It's a slave system, man. All over, man. Everybody is a slave to the system. Okay? It's designed that way. All right? There's a time where Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, he said, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. Workers, man. So the system is based on work. That's it. And now they bring in this so-called fourth industrial revolution. They want everyone to be at the base level, where you're controlled by computer robots and AI and all kinds of shit that predicts your mind and controls what you think and how you eat and how you shit and everything. All right. And it's all about control. And you're going to be microchipped, and then they're going to control everything about you, what you say, you know, everything like that, man. And you got people sitting around chilling, talking about, oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. Oh, the Most High gonna get these niggas. It says, tax experts have said that federal government pandemic programs as well as tax credits have ended for many. Refunds are predicted to go down 11%. Okay, we read that. And it's important for people to be prepared to receive less or even owe money this tax season. And yeah, I know people who already owe money. You know, they work last year. They take out all the taxes last year. And then when you file taxes, they tell you, oh, you actually owe us $500. You owe us $50. Like, hold on. How do I owe you? What happened? What changed over the year? All the money that you were taking out of my life? So I was supposed to get paid, let's say $1,000. I'm getting only $800. And I owe you? You see? So, and the IRS, let's not even get into that. Okay, let's not even get into that. All right. It says, citing recent changes to the tax code, he noted that we can expect to see lower tax refunds across the board this season, being there was no stimulus relief this past year, and the other tax advantages like the child tax credit reverted back to their lesser 2019 values. Quote, there's a lot of economic uncertainty right now, and for the majority of customers we serve, their tax refund is their biggest paycheck of the year, Campbell said. Now, how can that be? How can that be, man? That's the biggest check of the year? What, a few $1,000s? That's the biggest check of the year? And you mean to tell me this is not hell, man? Where these people have everything in abundance, and those who have little, they want to take that away, and you think this is a righteous society that shouldn't be destroyed? When we talk about these things, people look at us crazy, like, well, you guys are saying America is going to be destroyed. It will be destroyed, whether you like it or yes. And you're going to go down with it if you don't change your mindset. You don't wake up and you keep sleeping and lolling and playing games and being all wicked, the Lord will get you, period. You see, the time of talking is almost over. You got to understand that. All these things that's happening will affect you people. Understand that. If you're not of the elect, you've been talking shit, coming against the scriptures, you don't believe everything we say, that's fine. Understand this, whether you like it or yes, whether you see it or yes, the storm is coming. Get ready. Okay? Get ready. This whole system is changing right before your very eyes. And one day you're going to wake up and your bank account is going to be empty. And that's when reality is going to hit and you're going to be pissed. And there's nothing you could do about it because your next door neighbor is also pissed because the same thing happened to him, but he got a different bank. You got Chase, he got Bank of America. Y'all going through the same shit. And then your ass go over to Chase, his ass go over to Bank of America, and there's a long ass line and it's barricaded. And they say, you can't come in here. Anyone who comes in here, you're going to be shot on sight, period. How do you explain that? That you worked all week, you worked all 2 weeks, you've been doing overtime, you've been killing hours because your paycheck is not enough. And then payday comes and you ain't got shit and you got bills to pay, yo, you're going to be pissed. That's when you're going to be calling on God and Jesus Christ, but ain't nobody coming here to help you. So for people who just have this mindset of, oh yeah, this summer is going to be lit. No, 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 no. No, no. You better prepare. It's crazy. I was talking to my brother yesterday about it, and I was like, hey man, through the spirit, what I see happening is, this whole train derailment stuff. Look, it's going into the water, system, bro. You know what I'm saying? All these chemicals, by the time it's gonna permeate and it's gonna go into the regular water sewages, man. Right? You got your tap water, you got your sink water, your bath water, all this shit. It got chemicals in it because it's going into it. Okay, you got the Hudson River out here in New York. Okay, that shit's gonna be affected. I mean, it ain't no trains that are around the Hudson River, but guess what? The derailments are happening. All right, at the north. Okay, northeast, and it's permeating. It's gonna go into the water eventually. Okay, and a lot of people depend on these waterways. All right, the system and so on and so forth. Okay, so it's gonna be good enough to blanket a big amount of people, states, cities, counties. All right, it's going to be a state of emergency. Okay. Oh, it's an emergency. It's not enough clean drinking water, so people have to ration and go get bottled water in the summertime when it's blazing hot and there's no water, clean water to drink. And now they're talking about there's a so-called fungus, that's going around across the country. Whatever fungus they talk about, look, is made up. Understand that it's made up to explain some of the side effects that these people who took the jump shot are going to be feeling. That's all it is. Okay? Anything that has to do with health, understand that it came from that J shot. It didn't just pop out of nowhere, because you're going to see a pattern. Everyone who took it, they're going to be feeling it the most. All right? So let's keep watching and see. Scriptures tell you not to trust thine enemy. And for those who are stupid enough to do it, that's on you. All right? You have to answer to your own demise, because when the shit was going down and we were telling you about it, what did you call us? You called us conspiracy nuts. All right? You called us crazy. All right? You called us what? You're not a team player. You're not allowed to come here. Like, you guys had like a life of privilege for what? A couple of months. That was very short lived, wasn't it? Now we're all back at square one. We're all the same. So now what? Okay then. It says next thing. It says citing recent changes to the tax code, he noted that, quote, we can expect to see lower tax refunds across the board this season, being there was no stimulus relief this past year, and other tax advantages like the child tax credit reverted back to their lesser 2019 values, end quote. Quote, there's a lot of economic uncertainty right now, and for the majority of customers we serve, their tax refund is their biggest paycheck of the year, Campbell said. U.S. citizens are saving less money and therefore relying on their refunds to help make ends meet. Okay, and that's not a good place to be in. Okay, when you don't have any savings, or you have very, very few in savings, all right, when things like this happen and they carry on for just a few weeks, you're in trouble. Especially when you're in a system that living on paycheck to paycheck. You survive off your paycheck. Like, every paycheck, you're already planning for what you're going to be doing with it. That's not a good place to be in, man. All right, and this country is built like that for a reason. It's all about control. Okay, it says data released by the IRS earlier this month showed that tax refunds are 11% smaller on average than the same time a year ago. Still, the IRS has sent out more tax refunds this year than last year, while a greater number of processed returns triggered a refund so far, with less than a month to go before the April 18th tax filing deadline. The average tax refund amounted to $3,028 as of March 3rd, down from $3,401 during the same time period in 2022. So far, the IRS has sent out 42 million refunds this year, compared with some 38 million that were sent during the same time period last year. With the loss of the child tax credit and earned income tax credit expansions, families and individuals are receiving smaller refunds this tax season. Joanne Ein, of nonprofit Prosperity Now, told Yahoo News earlier this month. It says, on average, a household pays $220 per tax return in order to file. In addition, low-income households often end up paying more or filing taxes due to their charges applied to the extra forms needed to claim tax credits. You hear that? And that's all done by design. That's all done by design. It says, TaxAct survey also found that Americans are overwhelmingly concerned about high inflation and cited it, quote, as their biggest concern for both 2022 and 2023, end quote, the release said. Right. And again, it's all done by design. Get ready. It says more than 50% rank inflation as their top financial worry. While this quote fear was strongest in 2023 for consumers with dependents and consumers who identified as white or so-called Hispanic/Latino. BS. But let's keep going. It says the IRS itself issued a similar message late last year about smaller returns. It also warned that it may take longer to process some tax returns. Refunds may be smaller in 2023, the IRS warned last November. Shit. Taxpayers will not receive an additional stimulus payment with a 2023 tax refund because there was no economic impact payments for 2022. In addition, taxpayers who don't itemize and take the standard deduction won't be able to deduct their charitable contributions. Now, what the fuck does that even mean? Huh? Taxpayers who don't itemize and take the standard deduction won't be able to deduct their charitable contributions. What does that even mean? Charitable contributions? What the fuck? That's Esau for you. That's the devil for you right there. All right, that double speak. It says, as part of the federal government's pandemic rulemaking, the child tax credit was expanded from $2,000 per child to $3,600 for each child under the age of 6, and to $3,000 for children between the ages of 6 and 17. Meanwhile, a change to the above line charitable deduction and the expiration of the mortgage insurance premium deduction could also lead to smaller refunds for many Americans. And you know what this is going to lead to? When the realization sets in that you ain't got shit going on in your bank account, people going to start hitting the streets and rioting and protesting. And guess what? They already got plans for that. Let's read. Youngkin signs bill allowing Virginia police to set curfews starting this summer. I wonder why. It says, Richmond, Virginia, starting this summer, police chiefs across Virginia will be able to set curfews during times of civil unrest. It's a law that was just signed by Governor Glenn Youngkin, but it's already stirring up some controversy. Senate Bill 1455 has gotten some pushback from the Virginia NAACP. The organization responded by saying they are disappointed as the bill has left them with more questions than answers on how it will be imposed. Well, they don't got to tell you that. See, this is how they do it. It has to be vague. It has to be vague, so that way when the shit goes down, they could just pull this bill and say, look, according to this, you cannot do that. Well, that was not what you told us. You didn't give us the details of what we can and cannot do. Well, it's the law. You abide by it, or this or that. You see what I'm saying? So it's done to be vague on purpose. That's the point. It's made to confuse you and box you in. All right. It says the governor's signed bill enables the chief law enforcement officer of a locality to enact a curfew under certain circumstances during a civil disturbance. Specifically, these curfews can be set for up to 24 hours if there is a threat of civil commotion or disturbance. The Virginia NAACP, see, why are they setting this up? Like we said, this summer is going to be hot. Okay, all the signs are pointing to it. I mean, we've seen people bug out over less things. How much more all the things that's about to happen soon, right? The changes that they say they're about to make, the so-called CBDC is going to be put in motion starting, I think they said June or July, something like that. I think July they said, right? But in May, they're going to be making some heavy changes. Okay, that's going to be pretty much trickling into the month of June and then July. All right, so things are going to change, and they're going to change quickly, and it's not going to be in the favor of the so-called average American. All right, so get ready for that. And these governments are getting ready. Right? It says the governor signed bill enables the chief. Oh wait, they just go up like that. Right. It says The governor's signed bill enables the chief law enforcement officer in a locality to enact a curfew under certain circumstances during a civil disturbance. Specifically, these curfews can be set up to 24 hours if there is a threat of civil commotion or disturbance. The Virginia NAACP says they urged Governor Youngkin to veto the bill, citing concerns that it gives police chiefs and city leaders the ability to define on their own terms what constitutes a civil disturbance. Okay, so on the fly, they're gonna be saying, well, this constitutes as a civil disturbance. You're not going along with the plan. That's a problem. Okay, but hey, this is what's coming. All right, it's coming down the pike, so get ready. Okay, this is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." And you're talking about race wars, race riots, because that's what's going to lead. All right, that's what's going to happen as a result of these things that's happening. Okay, these events that's taking place in this country. Okay, these new laws and regulations, all right, that are being passed. That's what's going to lead to that, because you're going to have some type of class war. All right, hey, it's all done by design, man. Okay, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Okay, isn't that what you're seeing around the world? Look at France, look at Kenya, just to name a few. And there's a whole lot more that I can't even remember. That should tell you something. Okay, it says, "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able," and it's for many different reasons. All right, you got but they got these so-called 15-minute cities that they setting up soon. Something known as geofencing, which I did a video on that like a couple of years ago when I first heard about it, and now here we are, right? It says, "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." Okay, so we are inching closer and closer to the times where you're going to see people just be outright violent. Okay, because of what? Because there's no food, there's no water, and they're being pressed on all sides, and there's no hope. All right, there's no hope. Okay, so hey, man, for those who are just sitting there, just chilling, having a good old time and not paying attention to what's going on, ooh, you about to get rocked. But for those of us who are paying attention, hey, keep the faith. All right, keep the faith, because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua will fight on our behalf. All right, keep the faith. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it off there. Lord willing, you've been edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh, the water Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. And until next time, Shalom.